Hello, my dear children of class 12. We are here for the lesson, the Rattrap. This lesson is written by Selma Lagerlof. In the last class, we have started the lesson and we have seen that the lesson just talks about a wanderer. And this wanderer is a peddler who just goes on selling Rattrap. And we see that he led a miserable life. No one showed any mercy or sympathy towards this man. And for him, here we see that its clothes were in rags, his cheeks were sunken, and hunger gleamed in his eyes. His life was so sad and monotonous. And all of a sudden, as he was just moving along, leading a life by selling rat traps and by doing petty thievery, one day he happened to fall into a line of thought. And what was that? As he just looked at his rat trap, he just made an intuition like the world is like a rat trap. And instead of pork and cheese which was kept in the rat trap, here the world is offering joys, riches, happiness, clothes, etc. as bait. And here it says that once you touch the bait, just like a rat trap, you will be trapped. And here, once you just go after the world for enjoying these joys, riches and happiness in your life, you will be also got trapped and it's unable for you to come out. Okay? Anyhow, he find his life very hard to live peacefully because he is a wanderer and here is a peddler, then he is a vagabond. Vagabond is also a person who just lives without a place to live. Okay? So that's how we have seen about the life of rat trap seller in the last class. Okay? Now take your textbook. Let's continue the next 2-3 paragraphs. Okay? The world, of course, never been kind to him, so it gave him unwanted joy to think ill of it in this way. It became a cherished pastime of his during many dreary ploddings to think of people he knew who had let themselves be caught in the dangerous snare, and of others who were still circling round the bait. So what we see here is, here we see that the world has never been kind to him because he is a peddler, he is a wanderer. And maybe he is leading a miserable life, not looking good. Anyhow, no one accepted him. And as we know that he is tempted by seeing the things in order to live a life. Okay. So anyhow, whenever he started thinking about others, it gave him joy to think ill of it. What is that joy to think ill of it means? It is very happy for him to think something unwanted about others, especially when he considered this rat trap as a world. And he just said that he knows some people who have already caught in this snare. The snare means they have touched the bait and they have already trapped. You know that some people, instead of getting rich all of a sudden within a time, they want to achieve something great in their life. So what they will do? They go for shortcuts in their life just to have money, just to have all pleasures in life. But they may not be using a legally accepted way in order to achieve this richness in their life. So once they achieve this in an unwanted way or legally, when they accept some riches in their life, definitely they'll be putting themselves into a trap. Once they were caught, it's unable for them to come back. So he just started thinking about some faces that he knew and it cherished him. Cherished here means, here the word cherished means held dear or clung to him because he is very poor, he doesn't have a place to live. So it is very happy for him to think ill about others because he is also getting a company like him. Okay, and these things just cherished him during the pastime. Pastime here means as he was just moving all along, thinking about ill about others, all this gave a sort of happiness in his life. Okay. Then we have seen that he already knows some people who were got into this dangerous snare, and there were some people who are just circling around the bait. They were about to touch the bait. They were also just trying to find some ways to get riches in their life. So he was just thinking all these things and he was walking all alone in the road. So as he was just moving, he felt so tired and all. Okay, let's see what says in the next paragraph. One dark evening, as he was trudging along the road, he caught sight of a little grey cottage by the roadside, and he knocked on the door to ask shelter for the night. Nor was he refused. Instead of the sour faces which ordinarily met him, the owner, who was an old man without wife or child, was happy to get someone to talk to his loneliness. Immediately he put the porridge pot on the fire and gave him supper. Then he carved up such a big slice from his tobacco roll that it was enough for both of the stranger's pipe and his own. Finally, he got out an old pack of cards and played mujulais with his guest until bedtime. So here we see that the peddler, who was just walking all along the road, thinking ill about others, thinking the world as a rat trap, just imagining himself looking at the rat trap, considering the world as a rat trap. Likewise, as he was moving, one evening he was so tired. It was dark, it was getting night, and he was wandering all along the road. What happened? He needed a shelter. He was so tired. He needed a place to rest. As he was just walking all alone, he happened to see a small grey cottage. Okay? Then he just approached towards the small cottage which was near to the road, and he thought of asking for a shelter. Already in the last paragraph we have seen that the world had never been kind to the peddler, which means people are not at all interested in accepting a man like this peddler because he is a wanderer. He is a lonely man. He is leading a miserable life. Anyhow, seeing the small cottage, grey cottage, he thought of asking for a shelter. Okay, then he knocked the door of the little cottage. And what we see here is, apart from the familiar attitude of the people, it was entirely different. So what happened? An old man greeted him. When he knocked the door, it was an old man who opened the door. And he greeted him. Greeted here means he was very happy to have this man. Okay? And what was the reason? Here it says that this peddler says that apart from his intuition, so far no one admitted him, no one accepted him. But in this little grey cottage, old man opened the door and he was happy to get someone in the house. So that's why the old man greeted this peddler, invited him inside his house. And if you just go deeper into the life of this old man, he was also leading a lonely life like that of this peddler. In the beginning of the lesson, as we gave the introduction, we said that this story is about some people who led a lonely life. The first person that we have seen is the peddler. And the next person that we come across the lesson who leads a lonely life is the old man. Okay, this old man also lives a life without wife or children. So definitely he was so happy to have a company that particular night. So that's why he didn't ignore the peddler who knocked at this door at this dark time of the day. It was getting dark, evening, isn't it? So he was invited into his house rather than ignoring the peddler. And the old man who led a lonely life was very happy to invite him to have a company from his loneliness. You know how hard it is to lead a day without any company, keeping all alone. What if you are just put aside into your house all alone without any company? You will feel like very irritated. You wanted someone else. So this man, as if he was waiting for someone, he opened the door. Immediately, then what happened? Here we see that once he just invited this man, greeted this man, and he was very happy to talk to his life, talk about his life towards this peddler, because he was just abstaining from his loneliness. Immediately what happened? He went to the kitchen, he placed the pot on the stove, and he prepared a porridge. What is it, porridge? Porridge is oatmeal, a meal prepared by oats. Okay, immediately he just prepared porridge and he gave the peddler supper too. See what a generous man this old man was, isn't it? So without asking any question, he doesn't want to know from where he comes, what he does, how he leads a life. Nothing like was. He was as if he was waiting for someone. He just immediately prepared the meals and gave the peddler supper. And not only that, he shows about his happiness. Then the old man, what he did, he then took his tobacco roll and he carved. What is it, carved? Carved means he took a part of it. He just thought of just taking some part of the tobacco, cut some pieces of or some part of tobacco to give a company to this man. Okay, just for happiness, sharing happiness from the old man. Okay, and the old man gave him the stranger. Stranger here is the peddler. Okay, then we say that along with this, after giving porridge, after giving some tobacco for just mocking, then what he did, he also entertained the peddler by playing Mudgelis. Mudgelis is a card playing in Sweden. It's a type of card playing. Okay, I don't know whether the same card is used there, but still then it's a type of card playing in Sweden, and that too until what time? Until bedtime. So that it shows that fully after the arrival of the peddler, the old man was so excited to give anything and everything to the peddler. The peddler, he was also surprised because this is the first experience in his time that no one just admitted him. No one just allowed him to enter into their house. Apart from that, here the old man invited him, greeted him, gave him supper, then gave him some tobacco roll. Then afterwards he was just entertaining this man by playing Mudgelis with him. That too until bedtime. They spent a very good deal of time together. The old man was also very happy to get rid of from his loneliness. So far he was just fed up with leading a life all alone. And this coming of the peddler just entertained both the old man as well as the peddler. The peddler, his intuition about the whole world gets a change once he accepted the invitation of the old man. Okay, so this is the second person. Old man is the second person we see in the lesson who leads a lonely life. First one is the peddler. The second one is the old man. Okay, so let's see who else other than these fellows leads a lonely life in the lesson. The old man was just as generous with his confidence as with his forage and tobacco. The guest was informed at once that his days of prosperity, his host had been a crofter at Ramsjow Ironworks and had worked on the land. Now that he was no longer able to do any day labor, it was his cow which supported him. Yes, that Bosie was extraordinary. She would give milk for the creamery every day, and last month he has received all of 30 kroner in payment. So now we see that this crofter means a person, a farmer who works on the land. And here we see that the crofter who was leading a lonely life, he was very happy to have this Rattrap seller in his house for a company. And he started talking a lot about his life after giving him supper, then played card and all. He started saying something about himself. Now the old man was a crofter means a small farmer, especially one who worked by a tenant. That means taking land for rent and doing some agricultural farming by likewise. Okay, so such a person is called a crofter. Okay, so this host means the person, the old man in this house, he was a crofter and he worked in whose company? The company of Ramsjow's Ironworks. Okay, so he was just hiring, or he took some land that belonged to Ramsjow's Ironwork, and in his good old time he was just working in that land, just farming, cultivating some agricultural job. So likewise he led a happy, healthy life. But now what happened? Now he's so old and he cannot do any day labor. So he was not fit enough, healthy enough to plow the land, to do farming, then to do agricultural things likewise. So now he leads a life with the help of whom? With the help of his cow. Okay, so that's where it says that now he leads his life with the help of his cow, and he is calling his cow as what? Bosie. Okay, so openly with trusting the Rattrap seller, he opens up everything about his life. Okay, then the stranger must have seemed incredulous, for the old man got up and went to the window, took down a leather pouch which hung on the nail in the very window frame, and picked out 3 wrinkled 10-kroner bills. This he held up before the eyes of the guest, nodding knowingly, and then stuffed back into the pouch. So in the last paragraph you have seen that his Bosie, or the cow, is the one who is helping this crofter to lead a life. And every month, already we have seen that every month, this with the help of this cow, he used to get enough milk that is sufficient for him, and also for selling it into the creamery. Creamery means dairy, for milk making dairy products and all. Okay, so here we see that his sole income is with the help of that cow. That's why he is calling the cow as Bosie, because now cow is the boss of this crofter. So every day this cow gives enough and more milk that is sufficient for him to give to the creamery, to the dairy farm. to make milk products and all. So once in a month or at the end of each month, he gets the payment. And that is the only source of income this crofter is having in his life. Now, here, as he was telling all these stories to this Rattrap seller, once the crofter was telling all these things, the crofter thought that whatever I am telling may not be fully believed by the Rattrap seller. So in order to make the Rattrap seller believe that whatever he said was correct, he thought of showing the money. Okay, so what happened? He got up from the place. He moved towards the window pane. Window pane means, that the structure, the outline structure of a window. In that window pane, there in a nail, he was just hung a pouch. And in that pouch, he got 30 kroner. Kroner is this. This is the currency of Sweden. Danish currency, kroner. So this is 10 kroner. So here, he just trusted the Rattrap seller and he thought of showing him to make him believe that whatever he said so far was correct. So he took the pouch from the window pane, which was hung on the window pane with the help of a nail. He took it, this 3 wrinkle. Wrinkle means it was not straight. It was somehow wrinkles were there, and he showed that 10 rupees or 10 notes. 30 kroner, all in tens. 1, 2, 3. Altogether 30 kroner. 3 kroner, that shows 30 kroner. Okay. So he was just shown this in order to make him believe that whatever he said was correct. And now he was now happy that whatever I said was believed by the Rattrap seller. Okay. Then the next day both men got up in good season. The crofter was in a hurry to milk his cow, and the other man probably thought he should not stay in bed when the head of the house had gotten up. They left the cottage at the same time. The crofter locked the door and put the key in his pocket. The man with the Rattrap said goodbye and thank you, and thereupon each went his own way. So what happened that night, that they were just talking a lot, and he talked about his work in Ramstow's ironworks. That is one of the prominent ironworks or company, a seller and manufacturer of iron things. And he rented land from Ramstow's industries, and he was doing day labor. Now, as he was old, he now lives with the help of his bossy cow. The cow gives a lot of milk. Okay. So likewise, he told a lot about stories of his life. And in between, they had tobacco each other. Then they played mujalis, the card, plays and all. After that, they went to bed. The next morning, the crofter was very busy because he wanted to got up and go to milk his cow. So early morning, he got up from his bed. So once this crofter got up from his bed, the stranger also thought that it's not good for me to stay hereafter in bed once the host has got up or the owner of the house has got up. He also wake up immediately along with the crofter, and both of them thought, let's leave the house. Okay. So he said bye, and we see that the crofter just locked his house, closed all the windows, and both of them bid farewell to each other. The stranger also thought, let me also move from. Okay. So likewise, they too departed to do 2 different places. But half an hour later, the Rattrap Peddler stood again before the door. He did not try to get in, however. He only went up to the window, smashed a pane, stuck in his hand, and got hold of the pouch with the 30 kroner. He took the money and thrust it into his own pocket. Then he hung the leather pouch very carefully back in its place and went away. So what happened? Here we see that when this crofter went to milk his cow, and Vagabond also left the house by thanking him, we see that once they went to 2 different directions, half an hour later, the Rattrap seller again was standing in front of the door, in front of the house. This time, he doesn't want to enter inside the house through the main door. His intention was other. Slowly, what happened? He moved to the side of the window where the Rattrap seller has hung the pouch which contained 30 kroner currency. Okay. So he slowly went to that place. He took his hand, or he just smashed the window pane. He put his hands inside the window pane, and he knows actually where it was kept, because in front of this Rattrap seller, this crofter went, took the pouch, he showed the money, 3 wrinkled notes of 30 kronos. Then he put it back to the pouch and he hung it the same place very carefully. It was all seen by whom? It was all a sight seen by the Rattrap seller while he was in the house. So this time, half an hour when they departed to 2 different places, this Rattrap seller returned. He broke the window pane. He put his hands through the window pane and he took the pouch. Once he took the pouch, he took 3 notes of wrinkled Danish kroner. He took that 3 wrinkled kroners and put it inside his pocket. Then slowly he returned, or he put the pouch back to its place. Okay, so we see that once they departed from that place, the crofter went to milk his cow, the peddler went to his own place. But half an hour he came back, he smashed, or he broke the window pane, took the 30 kroner, he took the money and thrust inside his pocket, and he put the pouch back again to his place and he left. Here we see that this vagabond was very dishonest to this crofter. See, imagine last night it was this crofter who gave him shelter, who gave him food, who just helped him have some entertainment by giving him a piece of tobacco and playing mujulis with this person. Another thing that we want to remember, the whole world was against him, or he didn't get any favor shown by any other person other than this crofter. Now what he has done? Now he came back to cheat the very same crofter who sufficiently provided shelter, food to this Rattrap seller. Now the same thought which the Rattrap seller had while he was plodding on the road, that the whole world is like a rat trap which is offering baits. Now here we see that the Rattrap seller is now caught and trapped in a bait by taking the money from the pouch of the poor crofter. Okay, so that's all for today's class. Have a great day. God bless you.